Gaming companies have been creating games for over like 40 years now, and obviously gaming has been getting better over the years. We have graphics that are almost picture perfect, just to name one of them, and the gameplay as well has gotten just a ton better. The Resident Evil games are one that I believe has improved tremendously, and there's obviously a ton of other things, being as gaming has kind of evolved a lot in, let's say, like the last 20 years. But also in the last 20 years, companies just seem to have dropped off tremendously. So much that indie dev games, sometimes made by only 1 or 2 people, seem to be getting more players nowadays. But the problem with that is when a good indie game is released, updates seem really slow to come out. And this is why, in general, I believe companies are ruining gaming. So let's get into it. Now, gaming has always had problems, but we should not be getting 30 frames or 30 FPS on a game with some of the newest hardware. I mean, I have the RTX 3060, and I would only be getting 30 frames on this game, which is crazy. Optimization has completely stopped in most modern games, and I feel like so many games that should be running are just struggling to run every now and again. I don't know much about Assassin's Creed Shadows, but what I have heard is it requires kind of a top-range graphics card to even be able to reach 60 frames on average. And I believe, though, that the main reason as to like why games are being like this anyway and being less and less optimized is because of Unreal Engine 5. And I watched this pretty interesting video about Unreal Engine 5 ruining gaming, so also check this out after the video ends if you are interested. And these are just like mainly issues just with like AAA games though, because indie games are actually doing quite well at the moment. Like we have Schedule 1, which is doing crazy well on Steam right now, and Repo. 2 big games that are on the top 50 of Steam charts, which is crazy. It actually is. And it's crazy how well they're performing. But I want to talk about more of these games in maybe another video. I feel like in the gaming space now, we have a lot of companies that will just buy out studios or other companies to benefit themselves, right? That's fair enough, it's business, makes sense. Or they just straight up ruin a game. Some notable ones such as EA buying PopCap Games, obviously the creators of Plants vs Zombies, which kind of, after that, it kind of killed off the whole franchise. I feel like the mobile games especially aren't as good as they used to be. Same thing with the games on Xbox and stuff like that. They haven't released one of them in a while, but when they did, it kind of dropped off dramatically. And yeah, it's kind of sad to see. Epic Games with Rocket League, where they straight up have slowly depleted that game, just slowly and slowly over the last few years. And we have Microsoft buying any company they can get their hands on. To be fair, I do feel like buying Activision might have been a good idea, and I mean, Black Ops 6 wasn't too bad, I guess. But it just feels like it's a Hunger Games to just buy huge IPs. Now, another problem with majority of gaming companies is the lack of communication, and like the people running the accounts of them can't really be to blame, I guess, because they're just posting whatever they're being told to post. That this is the issue with modern gaming as well. I mean, like, obviously it's an indie dev doing Lethal Company, but like AAA games, if they can't seem to make good games, but they have the resources and backing, right? But indie devs don't. It kind of makes it difficult to have a game stay around and be relevant for a while. The best way I can explain this is by saying that I don't think we have had like a game like GTA or Minecraft in a while that sticks around for absolutely ages, and a lot of people like it. And we know, is a game that you could just go on and relax or play, I guess. You could say Fortnite, but that game would be one game of a lot of other games that don't seem to be sticking around very often. Now, obviously, Minecraft and GTA are kind of massive. Like they're like massive. Now, I just had this in the script for the video because I wanted to kind of put in a lot of different stuff that I've noticed with other companies. Now, Fragpunk. Now, well, actually, NetEase. Now, if you haven't heard about this game, then it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest because it exploded, right? It did really well in the first 3 weeks, which was expected. Heck, I even made a video about it, which, yes, I just like slightly still believe it could surpass Valorant, but then 2 weeks later it just dropped off like crazy because of the lack of updates and advertisement. Now, I know it costs a lot to advertise, but if NetEase spent all this money creating a game, right, and, they've got to have a lot of money. It'd be on the screen right now, but they've got a lot of money. So if they're not advertising, they're just killing off the game. Like, it doesn't make any sense. No update is going to keep people to stay in the game for that long, right? If there's no of advertising to get other people in. I've heard that they've been doing Twitch streaming, like sponsors and stuff like that, but that still doesn't really help with the kind of depleting player base that game's got. NetEase as a company is quite big, and they have got enough money to at least advertise it a bit. Not to mention the fact that they have been barely giving any information away about the release of the console edition up until the trailer, so people kind of got angry at that as well. But hey, they could at least fix their mistakes for most of the companies anyway. They kind of can't. Now, this is why I feel like I've stopped playing games as much, and it's kind of made me lose my trust in games as well. And when I hear a new game coming out, I just never really buy it. Like, A, because it's AAA games most likely cost a lot more than any other game. And B, because some of them are just straight trash. I feel like the developers put a lot of work into them, but deadlines and people higher up seem to be the problems here. And the main problem is just money, and games just feel soulless now. Like, don't get me wrong, some games can still be considered masterpieces and still can be really good, just for the most part. Indie devs will probably still continue to do well as well. You know, the big companies will still probably do well as well, but I feel like something has to be done, at least to get some of these companies to start doing, you know, better. But that's it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe, do all that jazz, and I will see you guys next week for another video. Peace out.